You have it. You have it on widescreen.
Yep.
Okay, because widescreen takes up the whole screen, and taking up the whole screen's a good thing. What's up? I'm Bobby Collins. This is I'llNeverForgetIt.com. Alright, so this video is about Ubuntu Linux. So you start using Ubuntu Linux. Maybe you can't afford Windows, you don't like Windows, maybe you put it on your Mac, maybe whatever reason you're using it. Now what? You've got it working. What are you going to do with it, huh? That's what we're here to know. So you've got Ubuntu running here, and the only reason I'm not doing like a screen recording thing is because the details and the fancy stuff don't really matter too much. And you can find a million other videos on how to get a circle. But anyway, what's it good for? And how do you use it? Alright, so Ubuntu, you see, you have a taskbar up here with your applications, places, system, and then a couple little shortcuts. That's Firefox. It's a really cool web browser. A lot of people use that, and that's your help center. Just a question mark with a blue circle around it. Over here, and this whole bar space is made for shortcuts of whatever you want to have. So really, you don't even need desktop icons, but I don't have any anyway. But you go all the way over here, and that is your network symbol. That's the that particular one means I have my network hardwired. That's your volume control. You can actually put your mail shortcut right here, and you have the time and date always. And that's my name. I'm Bobby, and there's your power button. And then you have a lower taskbar, kind of similar to the Mac stock. You don't really put shortcuts on here. This one is more like the Windows taskbar. Over here, you have that button that Windows has all the way in this corner that takes all your windows and just brings them down to your taskbar. Anyway, this is the one that puts all the windows. So say I want to open up a file. I'm going to open up my home folder, which is like the Windows version of my which is the Linux version of my documents. So, you know, got all that, and then it's right there. So I go this, you see my mouse pointer, and I click this button, click, and it brought it right down to there. I'm going to go back to this program, and I'm going to use a cool little keyboard shortcut called Alt F4, and that'll just end that program. Alright. Alright, so why do you use a computer in the first place? For applications. And so Ubuntu is pretty cool in the sense that it has the application toolbar right here in the top left corner, and when you click it, everything is sorted into categories. Now this isn't what will come with default. There's a few things here that aren't automatically there, and I think the only one is wine, which has nothing to do with alcohol. That's if you want to run a Windows application on Linux, and that's a really good program, and I do suggest you give it a shot. Anyway, it has accessories, which are a number of things. You know, you've got your calculator and all these different things that I'm not going to go through. Education. Ubuntu's great for schoolwork and stuff like that, because I'm taking calculus class and Ubuntu helps me a bit. Games. Yep, Linux has games. Not very much, but there's more here than there are for the Mac. Graphics, Ubuntu has a bunch of stuff. Internet, also Office. It also has a full Office suite for it that comes pre-installed. It's called OpenOffice, which is cross-platform. That means that OpenOffice can be put on Windows or Mac, which brings some people back to the question, you know, if I have a Windows computer, why would I go to Linux, just use a free Office program that I can do with that? Because the reason for that, you don't get viruses on Linux. And in fact, Linux is weird and different from Windows if you're used to Windows, because as you keep using Windows along over time, Windows gets really slow. Ubuntu Linux is the exact opposite. It gets faster. Anyway, sound and video, system tools, wine again, and one of the neatest features ever, the Ubuntu Software Center. Now, if you have an iPod Touch or an iPhone or an Android or a BlackBerry or stuff, you have those app stores. Like Android has the App Market, iPods and iPhone have the App Store. If you've jailbroken it, it has Cydia and all that good stuff. And Android has that marketplace. Well, anyway, the Ubuntu Software Center is kind of the same thing, but there's a big difference. There's millions of applications in tons of categories, and each and every one of them is free. Although some of them are not open source, but they're few and far between. And this is really cool. It has history of apps you installed. You can go over the installed software in case you want to remove something. And get software, which is what's automatically on. You have a search bar, so you can search for different categories, or if you already know of a particular program, app that you want, you can just type it in the name. Like, say, I want OpenOffice, typing with one hand here, bam, openoffice.org suite. And then there's related applications, like KNet attached, and that says it's a network folder wizard. That's just for sharing and whatnot. But anyway, there's just so many different applications and whatnot for anything really. So if I go to internet, and look, it even broke it down into subcategories for me. There's chat programs, file sharing programs, mail, web browsers, and then all 284 internet apps. If you go to web browsers, you're going to see a million of them, Firefox being one of them, and they're all in alphabetical order. It doesn't pick favorites, just alphabet. Chat programs, there's a ton of these. Now the one Ubuntu comes installed with, I believe, is called Pidgin. Or no, it's called Empathy. Pidgin came with the last version of Ubuntu. But anyway, just all that crazy stuff right there. And then you have science and engineering. A big part of Ubuntu is science because the people who develop it are really just a bunch of computer scientists and engineers and whatnot. And, you know, it's crazy. Look, astronomy. You know, if you have your high school astronomy class, biology, chemistry, computer science, robotics, electronics, engineering, this is great for education. I mean, you won't find this on the Mac. Now, Macintosh OS X Lion is coming out pretty soon, I guess. Apple says it is. That's going to have the Mac App Store, which is just the Mac's version of the Apple iPod App Store. But Linux beat them to it. They beat the iPod to it. They beat the BlackBerry to it. Actually, I'm not sure about the BlackBerry, but I know they beat the Android to it and most other people. And all this stuff is free and available for you to use. Alright, so we have this little problem here at I'llNeverForgetIt.com. People aren't asking us questions, but we're coming up with answers anyway. Well, we can't keep coming up with answers for questions that aren't being asked. So, if you would like to ask us a question, please, please, please ask us something. Alright? That'd be awesome. Thanks.